So, welcome to today's video. I thought I'd do a really impromptu to get ready with me while I drink my peppermint tea. So I'm about to get started. So, mophie has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So, thought we'd do a little get ready with me, talk about it. Form a brand which is, I won't be talking about the makeup that much, but I will link all the products down below I'm using. This is the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. Form a brand which is the owner of mophie and some other brands. I've filed for Chapter bankruptcy, which is a case of it happened. I'm just putting that kind of all over my face so I can do my foundation. I like to have a grip and primer with my foundation, especially with the technique I'm using to lighten it. Like, I'm using moisturiser, which is kind of greasy, so I'm like, a gripping primer makes it better. Chapter 11 bankruptcy doesn't mean that the brand is going out of business. This means that they are not in a good place and they have debt and they can't pay it. And they're hoping to find a solution to save the brand. So, I'll be using the foundation. Just this one. And found my beauty blender. So I'm just gonna pop a bit on my beauty blender and put some moisturiser in. On Thursday, they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in Delaware. We'll link all articles I'm like referring to below, and so that you can, if you want to, have a read yourself. I did a video talking about how mophie was like in trouble and that, and how they were thinking about filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So I will link that video down below. With plans to be taken over by lenders including Jefferies Finance LLC and Cyprus Capital Management. There was news that over the holidays, mophie closed all of their stores, which is, there was some news over the holidays that mophie closed all of their stores, which I'm like, is something I suppose we could see coming. But I'm like, I don't think I was like 100% sure. It's like I could see it coming, but I wasn't like sure that it was gonna happen. So it was like shocking, but it was also kind of not, in the sense it's like you could see it happening, but also you were like not 100% sure whether it's actually gonna happen or not. Probably a shock for employers because they were told that we're doing fine, we're just having a sale. Nothing out of the ordinary. And then not restocking and then closing the doors and telling people to find another job. On the 26th of December, they really didn't tell staff that they were like closing. So I'm like, that's kind of bad. Like, that's like bad press for the brand. Like, that's not screaming to be like a good brand. That's kind of screaming as like a mean brand. Like turning into the big bad brand of makeup. Some found out on their morning when they came in that it was going to be like their last day of work. Mophie announced they were closing like 18 of their stores. They have closed like all of their stores in the US. Mophie has closed stores to enable them to like focus on their website and wholesale selling to retail partners, which include like Target and Ulta. Mophie with the makeup, they did like there were these influencers that really did like their makeup, but Mophie did like they liked it. Personally, it's not really for me, but everyone has a different preference with makeup, and it's like these influencers were so good at makeup that it's like they know what they're doing. Like they know how to make a product that's not that good work for them. Whereas I'm like, if you don't necessarily know what you're doing, like that's quite hard to make a product that's not that good work. And also I'm like, they're so samey, like their products are really quite samey. Like it's very samey in terms of the makeup. But everyone has a different preference. But it was like when these influencers were not promoting Mophie, people realised that maybe these products are not what we thought they were. Maybe they're really not that good after all. Like maybe this isn't for us anymore. Like there was nobody really after these top influencers like Jaclyn Hill, Manny MUA, Laura Lee, Jeffree Star, James Charles, like when they all had their big sort of drama scandals and that. Like there was nobody really up and coming after them that was like, that's a shame, but this brand still produces good products. So it's a case of kind of without those influencers, you kind of found that maybe not everything Mophie does is that good. Like, I've never been majorly intrigued by Mophie. I was intrigued by like the Coca-Cola palette. Kind of been it is the Coca-Cola palette. Like, other than that, I've not really been interested. Or they were releasing products that were like kind of really uninteresting. Like people realised Morphe is perhaps not as an interesting brand as we thought. Like it's one where to do really well these days you kind of need to be interesting. Like do something that's a bit different, something that people haven't seen as much before. Like You've really got to stand out from the crowd. Which Morphe just has not done that. Like, the amount of big, warm tone brown palettes, like, nobody asked for that. No one needs it. Like, and also I'm like, they're so big. Like Morphe's palettes, like everyone's sort of starting to do like more smaller palettes, whereas Morphe have just kept with these big palettes and not really sort of done anything to like evolve kind of thing. Like evolve with the times changing, evolve with the fact that people don't really want these big palettes anymore. Like people want like smaller, more concise palettes, like £9 palettes. Like most people, it's like the palette size. Like most people want them. The biggest people sort of want in palettes is like 16. Like it's really rare to. But big palettes are like wanted. Like big palettes have had their time. It's now the time of like smaller palettes. Like there's probably nothing wrong with the quality. It's just not what people are after. Like the formula, it's like kind of mediocre, like kind of average. It's not like anything that's like that groundbreaking. Like it's nothing that we haven't seen before is Morphe and their palettes and their formula. It's nothing that we haven't already seen. Like people are realising, do we actually like this formula or not? Or were we liking it because these influencers were promoting it? Also, like, preferences I find have changed. Like, people wanted big palettes at one point, and now people want, like, smaller palettes. Like, I don't really see bigger palettes being as popular as they were. Like, the biggest palette I own in my collection's £20. Like, I don't really have any big 42 palettes just put in there. Yellow in that place. Do like a yellow, green and blue kind of look. So I'm just taking some vitamin C, just building it to be as bright as the other colours are going to be. Like people wanted bigger palettes, now people's preferences are like smaller palettes. Morphe, instead of making smaller palettes, like they've done some but not a lot. They've kind of stayed in their lane of like bigger palettes, which I'm like, people don't really want that anymore. Like nobody's after that. Oh. These two shades together. Just pop in that inner part of the crease. Like Morphe, instead of like changing their colour stories, changing their sizing, and just stayed the same. So I'm just going to be back in with some of that yellow. Also, they kept doing like these warm brown palettes, like people wanted more than just warm brown, like people wanted other things. And it's like Morphe with the makeup didn't really evolve. Like it sort of stayed within like same as what they've done. Blue on the lower lash line. Like no one's really interested in like Morphe. Like I don't see anybody really talk about Morphe anymore. Like I never see anybody talking about Morphe. Even those that once did, I don't see them talking about Morphe. Like they've moved on from Morphe. So it's like influencers are among some of the most unsecured creditors. Morphe owes, just looking for my corner brush, Jaclyn Hill $2 million, knows Jeffree Star $1.4 million. I think when I read that, I was like low-key really shocked. It's crazy to think that they haven't really paid some of their biggest influencers. And now that's like crazy. Put a bit of quite lightly with this. Like Jaclyn Hill and Jeffree Star and that given Morphe a lot of success. Like it's like you can't even pay them. Like that's crazy. Like Morphe is not a brand that majorly interests me, but you can tell it's a brand that their strategy relied a lot on like influencer marketing and that. looks like they weren't nearly as successful. Now influencer marketing as they were with it. I'm going to quickly do my eyeliner because I really cannot talk and do eyeliner, so I will speed this up. Like mophie in strategy relied on like a lot of these influencers and their personalities, which definitely included like James Charles, Jaclyn Hill. Like Jaclyn Hill's brands under former brands, so who knows what's going to happen with her brand. Definitely need to quickly fix that top section. It's covering up and joining the bits at the end to make him look a bit neater. I'm going to have to go over that. I might have to do it on a different brush. Slightly ruined it at the end. I'm just going to have to go back in with this shade. Covered it and made it look a lot better. Also like Jeffree Star. And who had tens of millions of followers and whose collaborations with the brand regularly sold out. Also you had like Manny MUA, Laura Lee. Just going to go back in with this. I'll put some on earlier. Just going to give another coat. Obviously some of those influencers got cancelled and were involved in like drama. And obviously there were influencers that stopped pushing their products, like didn't promote them on their channel. Also these influencers are not as popular anymore, like Manny and Laura are definitely not nearly as popular. Nor is Jaclyn Hill as popular. Don't even think Jeffree Star's as popular, and nor is really James Charles. They're also not really that well trusted, like nobody really trusts them anymore. Like trust in influencers is definitely not what it used to be. Also there's nobody coming up after them saying that mophie was still good. It's like this has gone from being like really good to like this is now terrible. Like everyone sort of finds that it's like it's kind of rubbish now. I'm just like, this is average. Just using a lip gloss because I couldn't really think of what lip to go for. What lip to go for this look. So I quite often end up just using a lip gloss. Like, no one really wants these big palettes anymore that they're still doing. Like, people want smaller ones, like now. But what if you didn't really change as the times? The makeup market changed. Just gonna pop a little bit of my liner on my mouth. Lots of like bluey purple at the top. Bottom, I mean, and red and green at the top. I mean yellow and green, like people wanted something more than average, like Morpheus sort of did what they've always done, which is these big warm-toned palettes. Like, you don't look at Morphe and think that's nothing I haven't seen before. Like, Morphe has so many similar palettes. Like, everything's just very similar. And also, people have like warm tone browns. Like, people want stuff they don't already have in their collection. It's gonna like add to their collection. Morphe have definitely lost a lot of hype. Like, I don't even really see much about them anymore. Like, when a Morphe launch comes out, I don't really see a lot about it. But what do you think? Like, leave your thoughts in the comments. Obviously, like, Revolution's thought about filing for bankruptcy. BH Cosmetics filed for bankruptcy and was bought by Revolution. Becca's gone, Makeup Geek's gone. So many brands have just gone, like, lots of brands. It's like they just didn't really adapt to changes in the makeup market. Like, also, like, product preferences changed. Makeup preferences changed. Like, it's just so interesting. Don't really know what's going to happen. And subscribe. See you tomorrow for a special video. Bye.